everybody. Happy Sunday. It is Heather with Evidence Through Motion, and welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Heather. I'm a corrective exercise specialist and an occupational therapy assistant where we work together to make practical movements safe and better with practical advice that anybody can use using research backed techniques because we are all about research here and using things that'll work, not gimmicks, not the bullshit, but I'm also not going to make you read the research. Hope everybody is doing well tonight. Um, hey Gail, how are you? Jeffrey, I try. You sound like my daughter. I try. Try? I try. Hey Tammy, how are you? How are those cookies? All right. Heidi, as always. Oh, and I want to thank my mods on this channel and my other channel. Like, I want y'all to know that we're coming up on the 1 year anniversary of when we lost an amazing creator, um, Legal Vices, and I just want, when thinking about it today, just reminded that like we just need to let those around us that we care about know how important they are to us. And my mods do amazing things. And my mods also work for free. They are free labor, for lack of a better way of describing it. So I cannot be more appreciative for everything they do for me on this channel and the other one. Like, and if it ever goes it never goes unappreciated ever. And Ninja Puppy, I just want to give you a big ass hug. I am so sorry to hear. We are all I stripped over a box of tools and had to relocate so I could get the plants in the house. Oh, I mean, did I mention that I'm just getting over a nasty bout of gout? It really hasn't been my week. Ow. Oh, I, I slipped in a parking lot almost a year ago, fractured my wrist. Alcohol was involved. Hey, I know somebody that the alcohol was involved and they got hit by a car. So it could have been worse. But yeah. And Mary, how are you? Uh, I the only thing I've been drinking lately, like I got a really good bottle of wine that I was gonna share with my sister-in-law, from the Chateau de Elan in North Georgia, and then she went and got pregnant. I'm happy for her, but now I'm like holding off on that bottle of wine until she has her baby. But tonight we are talking cognition and fall prevention because fall prevention is um, a multifaceted thing. There is not one thing that causes your falls. And I believe just in general, as a provider, we try to pocket people or put people into one thing. Oh, it's your brain, or it's your medicine, or it's this. Um, Being gaslit by my doctors for a better part of a decade as to why I was having headaches and balance issues myself. Um, I take this fall prevention seriously. Little story time with Heather. I have fallen. I was a figure skater, so I fell all the time. But I have fallen. When I say I have fallen, I was getting up from the floor with sitting cross-legged on the floor, stood up, got my foot caught in my pajama pants, did a 3-point hop, could not catch my balance, and fell into a metal and glass coffee table. When I say, and I was sober, this was not a alcohol-induced anything. I was standing up, stood up too fast, got dizzy, tried to use my figure skating ability and balance to spin myself maybe onto the couch, and I fell into a glass and metal coffee table. It was like a metal frame with a glass top. Luckily, the glass did not break, but the metal frame left a bruise about the size of my iPad on my leg. So when I take fall prevention seriously and I take it personally, not just from working with patients who have fallen, but I have fallen myself. So this is very near and dear to my heart. I was like 28 at the time I fell. My doctors blamed it on, I think they blamed it on my medicine, you know? Um, but getting into that, I dropped the short this week. I dropped a video this week talking about cognition. That's our third week. We talked about uh, this is how my cognition is. Can't remember exactly what we talked about in the first 2 weeks. Um, Balance and stability was last week, and the first week was just general falls and what the series was going to be. Next week, we're breaking down home hazards, um, clutter being a big one. But for cognition, this one is not just for people over 65. None of this fall prevention stuff is for the quote unquote elderly or the sick. You can be a busy mom who has your divided attention between cooking dinner, your toddler left something on the floor, and you are all of a sudden stepping on a toy and down you go. You can be worried about clutter in the garage, not see something, fall. You can be focused on something else, just lose your balance. It happens to everybody. You don't have to be quote unquote old to have to worry about falls. You don't have to be sick. You don't have to have a medical condition to worry about falling. Does that make you more susceptible to falls? Of course, yes. However, it this is not an all inclusive, or this is not a um, single out any one part of the population. My daughter falls. I mean, she's 3. She's still learning to walk. She fell today. Obviously, she's closer to the ground, so she didn't get hurt. Falls are not a limited to the old or the sick. And that's one of the things I really want to stress with this channel. This channel is OT and corrective exercise, how we can move better and live safer. That is not how you can, you know, this is not specifically for 65 or older. This is not um, only for you're 80 and living by yourself. That is definitely one part of this. However, this is also for the 30-year-old that is always multitasking and dropping things, or leaves their stuff at the door and can't remember where stuff is at. You can't remember where you put your keys, things like that. I miss the days when I was only 2 feet away from the ground. Well, can you remember that far back? Because I can't. Yes, everybody falls at times. Gravity is real, and gravity is not your friend. Um, yes, and falling in the winter is bad. And hey, J. Buck, how are you? We're just gonna do this right away, cause do 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 do. Ugh, there we go. Mm, come on. Why can't I? Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I'm dumb. There's a reason I can't. I was trying to do something and I'm in chat, but I'm in chat in my other account. So when I type, it comes up as Squid Pro Co, not evidence through motion. And there's why I can't do what I want to do. Of course, it's me being cognitively impaired. Yes, I'm logged into the wrong account. This is how I don't understand. So, there's people with like multiple accounts, like people have parody accounts and things like that. I don't know how you people do it. I can barely manage 2 accounts that I'm both using for actual work. Like, I'm not using one to troll anybody or parody account or anything like that. I am using both accounts, both channels for actual work where I want both to be monetized and I'm trying to make both a career. And I can't keep up with them, where I'm logged in and where. I don't know how people keep all of their parody accounts straight. I can't I can't do it. Uh, I thought there might be a reason you were doing that. Yeah, I was looking. Kirby Johnson, I glad I have padding for the falls. Well, it's what it is. So, I mentioned in the video that one of my favorite things to do when you are trying to work on your cognition alone, standing activities with your balance can be great, standing up and turning. But if you're scared of falling, you're by yourself, and you want to work on your cognition, just just your cognition. You can use what I yeah. These were donated by my mother's former employer. Um, she used to get these are from the casino. Um, so these are from a Indian casino. But I used to take them to work with me because my favorite thing to use. Um, oh, there was a class I went to, like one of my continuing ed classes when I was working. I still take continuing ed classes, but I do all mine online now. I don't do any in person classes because I just don't. Um, yeah, there's true. I'm on the right stream because I set this up last week. I was on time. I figured it out that I'm starting to batch record things so I can get things out on time. Certain things are working a little bit better. But if y'all could do me a favor and hit that like button if you like this channel and you like what we're talking about and you want more of this kind of content, please hit that like button and share it because it's encouragement when I see that people like this content. It's that motivation that I need to keep going. One of my favorite things to do with my patients was a deck of cards. Um, there's it seems so simple, but it's the greatest thing since sliced bread as far as everything. Um, one of the things that I didn't get to work on this week, as far as in the video that I wanted to add, was when you're standing and reaching for things, you could basically stand at a table. You could put cards far away from you and have to reach across the table for them. It seems simple, but if you have 8 cards. I'm gonna try to aim my camera down. Sorry about the angle. Welcome to my desk. Welcome to my desk. If you're having to reach across, so you have all of these, and you're not only reaching, but you're putting them in order by number. So you're having to get all the queens, flip them over, put them in order. You're having to get all the, Jack 10, sort them by suit, however you want to sort them into categories, but you're having to reach. It works your balance. It works all of your muscles. It works your brain. It focuses your brain on something else. So sometimes when you're standing there and you're bored and you're like, I don't know what to do because I'm bored, standing up and playing a game of solitaire. Uh, it forces you to take both hands. If you're even shuffling, it forces you to take both hands off the table. Um, it it's amazing what you can do with a deck of cards. I always had people like I'd get one of the rehab aides and I'd have them play like solid or war or something like that, a card game, rummy, whatever they wanted to play. It worked. It also works your fine motor. So my friends who have who have balance and cognition issues or coordination issues secondary to a stroke or a TIA or even a heart attack, can use a deck of cards to help with your rehab as well. It seems like something so simple, but damn, it still works. Yes, puzzle pieces would work the same way on a card table. Oh yeah, it's it's so versatile, but it's cheap. I went to that class. It was OT on a shoestring budget. Um, it was how to get effective rehab with people and how to effectively help people without spending a lot of money. because we're all on a budget these days, especially hospitals. But I love using card games for cognition and sitting balance. Oh, yeah, sitting balance. And a lot of the times I used it for balance because it distracted people. Because I know how I am, say, when I go for a run. I can't run because, well, not only am I 40 pounds overweight right now, so running is just hard on everything, but I get bored. And when you get bored, what do you focus on? This hurts. This hurts. I hyper focus on everything that is wrong with the situation. And then I get anxious. And then I hyperventilate. And when your breathing is off, everything is off. Well, the same thing happens when someone is working on their balance. Um, when you're just standing there, you're bored. And then when you're bored or you can hyper focus on, "Oh, my leg hurts," or, "Oh, I can't do this," or, "Oh, I'm scared of falling." Card games can provide a little bit of a distraction too. Um, I do it by making pasta and kneading the dough gives me a workout. Yeah, that's a generally, most people have cards already in their house, so you don't actually have to buy anything. Um, you fell the other day going to get the mail, lots of ice under the snow, no damage. Please, people, keep your hands out of your pockets when walking. Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag because yes, it's like we have that writing reflex and that we want to brace ourselves, but also there's a a part of my brain goes to all I see is broken fingers and a broken wrist because when you fall and you brace yourself. However, a broken wrist is better than a broken skull because that's what I did when I fell. When I fall, with the exception of the falling into the coffee table and hitting the metal coffee table and getting a big old bruise and not hitting my head, every other fall I've ever had in my life, except for figure skating, because you fall figure skating because it's just what you do. You learn a new jump and you fall. You try to work on some spins or some footwork and you fall. It happens. Um, but my off ice, like in real life falls, have all been hitting my head. I have fractured my skull twice. I have had 3 or 4 concussions. So, like, you know, yeah, wrists are a whole other issue that it's more of a rehab thing that's not necessarily in the corrective exercise realm as far as, what I want to cover on that. There's so many things, but remember, I don't provide medical advice on this channel. We just got to do our little overlay here. I uh I am an OT, an OTA, and a uh, corrective exercise specialist and a lymphedema therapist, but I am not any of those related to you. You have your own set of unique challenges that I am not aware of. So, this is generalized education and things that make you go, and see if they're right for you. And as always, when I say, hey, these exercises are good for you, or good for this, or good for that, always check with your healthcare provider, whether that's your doctor, your nurse practitioner, or your therapy team to see if these are appropriate for you medically and or physically. Because the last thing that I want to do is provide general education and someone to think that, oh, this was right for me, and then end up making their situation worse. So this is generalized education, not specific medical education for you. So always remember. Like, yes, YouTube is asshat disclaimer. All content is opinion based. Yes, and all this is based on my education and my background, my personal experiences with working with clients, patients, and my own medical issues. Um, for those of you who might be seeing this or seeing me for the first time, I did have a Chiari malformation. It is surgically corrected. I have a titanium mesh plate thingy attached to my brain to keep it in place. But with that, I do have cognitive balance issues, um, strength issues, pain, and a bunch of fluid filled pockets called syringomyelia or syrinxes running down my spinal cord. So I am 40 years old, but I have had my fair share of doctors telling me that my symptoms were all in my head and not real. Um, Yeah, my brain was falling out of my skull by 7.5 millimeters. Yep, it was all in my head. So I understand when people tell me that they have been gaslit by the medical industrial complex. I understand. I have been there. Um, this is about learning how to advocate for yourself without being accused of doctor shopping, because we know from watching trials on my other channel that if you try to bring up lawsuits and stuff like that, they like to accuse people of doctor shopping. Um, so we are running that fine line between how you advocate for yourself without being accused of either doctor shopping or pain medication shopping. There's a fine line that we have to run as patients to get doctors and nurses and nurse practitioners and the PAs and everybody to believe what we are going through without sounding like we are just out there searching for pain meds. So I do hope that the VA used the good duct tape. Well, I can't see the incision. Oh, I did try to put pigtails in my hair the other day, thinking that I was gonna be all cute and shit. And when I took the comb and I went down the back of my head, the scar is literally, if you were to take the comb and go right down the back of your head, it's right there. So when I was trying to see if the line was straight, I saw my scar and I freaked out. So I had a little bit of a panic attack um, when I saw my incision. So apparently pigtails, if I have to do them myself, are not for me. Like, you know, uh, the one quack who told Mrs. Jiggity Buck that her anaphylactic reactions were all in her head. I was ready to rumble. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I I had a patient one time, and I tell this story frequently because there are certain things in life that you will never forget, no matter how cognitively impaired you are. When I first became a lymphedema therapist, I'm a COTA, so I always had to give a therapist treat first, and then I would go and do treatments. However, being just a coda and seeing someone who had a lymphedema diagnosis, I would see them, talk to them, and get a lymphedema consult. Um, I had one, and I am the type of person where I treated, interestingly, I was non-traditional because, like, when someone has CHF, doing traditional lymphedema therapy is contraindicated because the fluid on their heart. Well, paths there's pathways to route fluid going around their back. It's not as effective and it takes longer. However, it's still possible. I'm that kind of person. So, like, I would go around the back so that we could still get fluid drainage from this lady's arm without going across her heart. Therefore, not causing any heart issues when she already had heart issues, but still being effective and actually getting shit done. However, the supervisor on acute care was not having any of that shit. But this patient was told by her primary care doctor. She goes, "I thought I had lymphedema." I told him, "I think I have lymphedema. Can I start getting treatment for it?" And he told her, paraphrased quote here, "You can't have that because I don't know how to treat it." That if a doctor ever tells that to you, my advice is to find a new doctor. I'm just, I generally don't provide no medical advice here. However, if you are be told that you can't have something because the doctor doesn't know what it is or how to treat it, that's when you find a new doctor. Because what a good person would do and a good doctor would do was say, "I'm not familiar with how to treat that. I'm going to find you a certified lymphedema therapist who can treat you because I don't know what I'm doing." That's what a good doctor would do. That's what a good therapist would do. "Hey, I see you have lymphedema. I'm gonna put in a lymphedema consult for you because I am not capable of treating that. So I am not a good fit for you from that aspect." It's like you admit when you don't know something. It's called not having an ego. And yes, sometimes we all let our egos get to us, but the part of being a good person is not letting your ego get to you. And that leading back into this fall discussion is sometimes admitting that you need to use your walker or you need to use a cane or maybe I shouldn't go out and get the mail today. Maybe I have to ask somebody else to get it or I have to wait 2 days. If you don't go get the mail today and you have to wait until tomorrow when it's a little warmer or it starts to thaw, unless you have something that needs to be like a tax bill, for example, um, it's not gonna be the end of the world if you have to wait. So sometimes if you waiting a day, not letting our "I got this" kind of mentality, um, get to us. And it's never be afraid to admit when you can't do something. Um, Because when we say, "Oh, I got this," it's like the athlete saying, "Oh, I got this. Oh, I can lift that extra 5 pounds," is when they get hurt. It's no different with someone who is at risk for falls going, "Oh, I got this. I don't need to use my cane today." And then takes a you know, "Hey, Tammy, how are you?" Uh, I had a doctor tell me I don't believe in oh my god, that would be the time that I'd find a new doctor. Like, that would be the absolute worst. Like, like, my oncologist was like that. She was willing to refer me to other specialists, very talented and humble doctor. Her openness to being corrected saved my life. And that's the thing, because and maybe I don't know if it's the military, and I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means because I am definitely not. Um, but it's willing to admit when you don't know everything and someone is going to be better at doing stuff than you are. Um, when and then when there was a therapist that I knew was better at something, if I had the time, I would ask to shadow her because I wanted to get better at it. Um, but saying, "Hey, this person's got this. Can you either do a she's my patient, she's been assigned to me, but I am not I think she needs this treatment and I'm not good at it." Or I think she needs, a splint and I can't do it. The splint she needs, I can't make. Can you either treat her that day or can you clear your schedule and work with me and co-treat and help me make this splint kind of situation. Never admit that when you are humble, you're putting the patient first. When you put yourself and your interests ahead of where your patient needs, that's when people get hurt, or people don't get better. So that's kind of why I have this channel too, because this channel is all about keeping people and my corrective exercise specialist certification is all about keeping people who are susceptible of getting in that medical industrial complex and circling the drain out. Um, because I've had patients that were frequent flyers. They go in, they have a fall or something at home, or they let their illness get bad. They go into the hospital. They're weak. When they're medically stable, they have to go to rehab. They go to rehab, they get stronger, they go home, they get weaker, they don't take their meds or whatever. They let their health get bad again, and then they do this until they get what my grandmother called the celestial discharge. So, there isn't a doctor in Wisconsin who doesn't think fibro is made up. Same with CRPS. I haven't left my house in 3 days. It's all my imagination, you know. There is a doctor who I think, would believe that fibro and, CRPS are real. However, he is a neurosurgeon, um, and his specialty is Chiari malformation. He was my surgeon, Doctor Dan Hafez out of Freighter in Milwaukee. Um, However, with that being said, because he believes in Chiari and he believes that it's not about the size of the herniation, it's the symptoms, um, he's that kinda thing. However, he's not a neurologist or a primary or, or a primary care provider. He's a neurosurgeon. So it's a situation, you know, but CRPS is a bitch. Oh, and thanks for reminding me. I wasn't able to go to the live stream conference, so I have to watch it. There's a continuing ed that I signed up for on CRPS. And since I have to renew my license by March of 2026 with the National Board of Certification of Occupational Therapy, I need to do that like now. So, a primary won't listen. Um, if so, I'm never about like firing doctors. However, if you talk to your doctor about like stuff and concerns, um, and they don't listen to you, there's a couple of options. This is just my personal opinion on what I've seen people do. Um, I've seen people have networks, or notebooks where they write down their questions. I've also seen people do research and actually bring um, research studies to their doctors and be like, I've had this problem, I have these symptoms here. And also, and to avoid being accused of doctor shopping, when you have a practice with like three or four doctors, say this personality fit is not working, always go with personality, not education, or not, they're not helping you. When you focus on the personality and I don't feel comfortable talking to you, it puts it a little more on the personalities and the comfort level of the patient and not the I'm searching for meds or I'm doctor shopping kind of situation. Um, and it puts it back on the doctor that you made a patient uncomfortable. And I'm always about this is where my petty side comes in. I'm always about when someone makes you feel uncomfortable, putting it back on them. Like I went a little bit, I told my mom's boss, sidebar, my mom's boss calls her antisocial because she doesn't want to go to any like work functions outside of work. And I told my mom, I'm like, you need to have the conversation with her when she calls you antisocial. And it's like, I'm not antisocial. I love talking to people. I just don't like to go places where you are if I don't have to, because you don't like me and I don't like you. So the only person that I am antisocial with is you because you're rude and you're racist. That's what I literally told my mom to tell her. Um, then yeah. So if you put it back on the person that they are the issue and it, politely and respectfully, don't cuss people out, you know? Um, question. After I told you about my toe, you asked me what was my aftercare. Was there supposed to be aftercare? Hose picker, I have to look back at the emails because I can't remember. It's been a busy week. Yes, there should always be aftercare for those type of things. Um, I don't remember exactly what um what was going on, but there should always be a follow-up to make sure that things are healing correctly. I'll have to look back to remember what you told me. I just it's not that I'm inundated with emails. It's just the emails that you guys send me, I love. I love hearing your stories and I love that you trust me with this stuff. Um, middle toe, oh yeah, middle toe, right foot amputation. Okay. Yeah, there should one you have your risk for infection because of the wound. Second, you should have been put on like heel weight bearing. They should have given you like a shoe, and you don't have to use that forever, but you have to be at a certain level of healing in order for your doctor and your doctor to clear you. You should have had therapy to make sure that like things were like mo- movement, range of motion, any issues with getting dressed. Generally, OT can help with like how to put your shoes on when you have an amputation. It's one of those there's a lot of questions that I have. that I would be asking if I was a provider, like, why, like, so it's a lot of things like that. Um, and yeah, for what it's worth, I've had better luck with DOs listening than MDs. Yes, yes. So DOs, um, a DO and an MD, so they have the same level of privilege in a hospital. DO and an MD are kind of equals as far as like what they're allowed to do. Um, but DOs are a doctor of osteopathic medicine, and an MD is a medical doctor. Um, I feel like DOs are more holistic and they see the whole body and the whole person. This is just my opinion from seeing them treat people. And also, um, if I had to choose an MD or a DO to see as a primary care doctor, I'm choosing the DO any day. That's just my personal opinion. I'm in a wheelchair. Oh yeah, don't think weight bearing was an issue. It still is because you still have to get out of the chair to get into bed, to get on and off the toilet. Um, Even when you're doing, say, a slide board transfer, if you have ever done one of those, you still have to you still have to move, and sometimes putting weight through that foot just to support yourself. So, you might not stand and you might not walk, but you still pivot, and it still puts weight on that foot. So, it's a thing, you know? That that's a good that's good. I mean, my m being the OT world, my brain says, "God, I wish OT was in there," but hey, as long as you had somebody. Yeah, I have had better care for my primary's PA than the physician. Yeah, they only give doctors 15 minutes to check patients here, and half the time they waive off patients' concerns. I have a I have a nurse practitioner for through the VA, so I use that. It's yeah, functional medicine used by many DOs. Yes, and they are limited by like if they work for a large healthcare company, they are limited by what the policies and procedures of that healthcare company, but just the mentality and their way of thinking is more functional and holistic than an MD. And that is not to paint all MDs with a broad brush. Some are like that too. And remember, most doctors got into this business in order to help people. I know it doesn't always seem like that, but for the most part, you know, mm, uh, hey, living life, how are you? Yeah, more movement than weight bearing. Yeah. And it becomes a meet you where you are. And I know a lot of people who are wheelchair bound, but the wheelchair, you still gotta like you still have to move and get in and out of bed, and even when you're doing bed mobility, you're still pushing off of that foot to move yourself around in bed. Um, think about the next time you're laying in bed, or you go to get out of bed, how many joints hit the bed? Like like where you are, how much muscle you're using just to get out of bed. Because that for a lot of people is hard. Um, and these streams I just like to keep as a conversation, um, because I mean I don't want to rehash like everything that I talked about in the video because um, it, we'll just watch the video. Like, I'm not I'm not going to I'm not going to take away everything that I talked about in the video, but this deck of cards, if y'all have a deck of cards, you can use that for so many freaking things. And also keeping the brain active. There's apps that I talked about in the video, but most of them are free. Even crossword puzzles in the newspaper. Um, Not even the brain training apps, but like I have a Sudoku app that I do on my phone every night before I go to bed. It helps for me, it helps my anxiety because when I go to bed, my brain is, like, every which way and sideways, but it helps me focus on one thing. Um, so it kind of takes my anxiety away when I'm trying to fall asleep. So not everything is one like single focused. So like some people use like a Sudoku game for calming, for focus. Some people use it for the math and the cognitive piece. Everything is everything can be tailored to what your specific needs are, and that's kind of the point of this channel is everything is tailored to what you need. Um, it's general education, but letting people know that it's not a one size fits all. Um, and that it is okay to ask questions of your doctors. And if you see something in one of my videos or a short or a live stream and you're like, that's I'm curious about that. I have a link tree. You can email me. I do have free setup or face to face one on ones that you can put in your email. We can set up I think it's Zoom or it's Google Meet. I have corrective exercise where I can also do an intro and a corrective exercise eval with you guys and see what your possible needs are so we can actually talk without like I love talking to you guys here, but if you want to discuss something with me that you don't feel comfortable putting in an email or you think will be too difficult to put into email, there is always my link tree. I am working on getting it out. There is also like PDF downloads. I am getting better at putting stuff in there. I do still have to put the PDF from this week's. Um, Whenever I do a video that has techniques in it, I am going to put a PDF on my link tree just so that you guys don't always have to refer back to a 10-minute, 15-minute video. You have the exercises, how to do them, and what they're good for right there in front of you that you can print out. I always try to make it easier on you. Or you can be like me and go back to school in real estate. Well, when I had a lot of morning pain in my shoulders, it was horrible getting out of bed. Yeah. Um, I always like to I have to stretch before I get out of bed. I have not stretch so much, but like do some mobility work. I do 90-90s with my hips when I'm laying on my back, overhead stretch, shoulder rolls, just to get the blood flowing before I get out of bed. Because if I don't, getting out of bed is like stiff and it's so hard. Oh yes, and every Tuesday there is one there. There is there is one there. I just whoop, there we go. Hold on. Open? Oh, there we go. I had to actually open my own stuff. So I have my 4-minute mobility um up there. I am working on um this is what I have for the cognition and balance drills. I'm just making sure that everything is right in there before I do it cuz I don't want to have to remove it and fix it and all of that stuff. Get on the mat and do yes, I'm a 3-stripe white belt. I don't know, I haven't found my stuff. I do too. I paid, I woke up last night to, go to the bathroom and couldn't fall back to sleep, so I paid my bills at, like, 3 AM. Also, my whole right arm was asleep, and when I say asleep, it wasn't like the, tingly asleep, it was like you can't, like yeah, I know. I was watching it earlier and it was like 27, 23 or something like that when I or 28, 23 when I started this and I'm like, just can't. Uh, Micah Parsons, I was FaceTiming my dad and Micah Parsons got injured. So we're just the other one should be up there. I should finish it tonight before I go to bed because the little went to bed with her dad after she got done FaceTiming grandpa. So, you know, it's it should be good. Oh, yes, we did have this conversation, but make sure you're in a two-party or make sure you're in a state where that is legal, otherwise, they could do what um they did to what I believe Angry Vet, if you know who Angry Vet is, they did that to him where he, was recording his doctor at the VA, and they, like, tried to charge him with a whole bunch of stuff, including, wiretapping. So, be careful with that one, because some people get very agitated, but yes, and recording is also a really good, thing if you always forget what they say. Um, if you ask if you can record as a not only to protect yourself, but also to remember exactly what they say because when they give advice and you walk out and you're like you can only remember like 10% of the conversation. That's me. Um, if you record, you have exactly what instructions and what advice they gave you because even in their notes and sometimes their discharge instructions will only be the vital information, what they think is the vital information, not always what you thought was the vital information. So there's another thing. And never be afraid to take notes. Sometimes healthcare providers will look at it like, "Oh, there's a family member taking notes." Sometimes the family members just want to be thorough. Take notes, take your notebook, get a small, like, pocket-sized notebook. See, I always have notebooks laying around. Um, get a pocket-sized notebook, put it in your purse, put it in your pocket, take it in, always take a pen, and write down notes, or even have them. Can you write down what you said about my blood pressure or all of this? I've practiced my "Oh, really" act for years. Ah. Anytime you're in a conversation where your health or life is being discussed, recording of the doctor's directions information should be allowed. Yes, I agree, but some hospital systems specifically have rules against it, um, especially with social media and the amount of things that happen, um, and people post shit on social media. It happens in gym culture. There's just there's reasons that they have rules against it, and a lot of the times it's not nefarious, it's to protect their staff from social media stuff. So, you know, I I do understand where you're coming from. I'm just saying from um the person who worked in a hospital and understands that sometimes family members want to try to catch patients or staff members doing things wrong even when they're not or catch them in nefarious positions. Um, like I was an OT. You spend a lot of time in the bathroom with patients for obvious reasons, ADLs, bathing, dressing, toileting, stuff like that. Well, if I was helping a patient get dressed that was their family member and they um filmed me doing it, that would look like I am touching their family member. Well, in all actuality, I'm helping them get dressed because they can't do it on their own. So it's when things are taken out of context. So it's protecting staff members. I get it. Um, that's why you ask. So, well, there's two sides to a story. So I do believe, and just remember, not everything that a hospital does, even though I do have my issues, we play devil's advocate around here. I do have my issues with the healthcare system as a whole. However, not everything that every hospital system does and every decision they make is for a nefarious reason. Yes. So, oh, you'd be surprised if you can't sit up on your own what you have to do when someone's holding your ass up. So, yes, and consent and informed consent is important. You 2, I love the 2 of you because okay, I'm gonna tell on you guys. but you two, I talk to you the most besides a couple other people on Discord, but your pictures on Discord are so similar to each other as far as what they are and the color of them that I have to like do a double take because sometimes you guys will write me at the same time and I'm like, wait, who am I talking to? It's just 5.G. Oh my god. I wouldn't post anything personal online, but if Doc says something like five rational or isn't real, it's all in your head, it's probably going up. Oh, and I can totally like I said, I can totally understand where you're coming from, but like the hospital system as a whole, not everything they do. Um, remember Dr. Joe, CMO Joe, one of our favorite doctors, one of our favorite people. I would love to get him on this channel. Oh my god. Oh my god, I have to email him. Um, Cross your fingers that Dr. Joe will come on this channel. He's responded to a couple of my comments on my other channel because I covered his lawsuit against his former employer. Um, however, I he doesn't know that I started this channel. So I would love to have a conversation about healthcare and the state of our healthcare system and all that, but I haven't. Yeah, I figured I would try to get this channel established first before I started reaching out to people for for guest appearances. But like, I'm sure Dr. Joe can tell you that sometimes they not everything that they do, yes, it can appear to be nefarious to someone who doesn't know what's going on in hospital administration, but not every decision that they make is for a nefarious purpose. It's just yeah. Yeah, get a raised toilet seat while you're at it. Gravity is not your friend, the water's cold. This right here. I have stories. I have stories. So many stories. Like, so many stories. It's just the things you see and the things you don't. Oh, I love this chat. You guys are amazing. But on that, we've been at this for over 50 minutes. Hit that like button if y'all found this as entertaining and as informative as I did. Um, yes, this right here. Wait till your boys hit the water. Yeah. Um, like, yeah, yes. Share this stream out if you think not that kind of stream, but share this live stream if you think that people can use this. I'm waiting for one of my videos to hit over a hundred views. It's I'm not organic growth is good because I want organic growth because YouTube has been eating channels for growing too fast, and I don't know what their definition of too fast is, so I'm okay with slow and steady growth. However, I'm waiting for the day that one of these videos hits a hundred views, and maybe 100 likes. I would love it. Um, so share this stream out. Um, next week's video is home safety as far as environmental, not only things you can do, the top 5 home safety hazards, and the things that you can do to fix them. And we're balling on a budget. I always say we're balling on a budget here. Easy fixes that you can do that don't cost a lot of money. We're not going for renovations. We're going for little things that you can do to change your environment to make it safer for you. All right. Y'all have a great day. Yes, good. Oh, wait, Heather said do all the YouTubey things like follow, subscribe. Yeah, ring that bell for notifications. I realized that I subscribed to somebody on my new channel, on this channel, and I subscribed to somebody, and they were like, I went live. And I was like, I didn't get a notification. And they asked me, did you even subscribe to me? Yes, I did, but I forgot to hit the bell for notifications. So that was completely my fault. Because if you don't hit that bell for notifications, YouTube will not notify you that someone is live or dropped a new video. Every Tuesday there will be a movement minute where there will be a new exercise with modifications for everybody, um, to try to get us up and moving. There'll be everything from upper body, lower body, core, and balance, modified to fit everybody's needs, from the person who wants to get their balance back and doesn't have a full range of motion to the athlete. So we'll figure it out together. And everybody who has fallen this week, I love you guys. Take care of yourselves and please don't fall again. Not like you can help it. I know. Oh, I'm at the age where my boobs get hit. Oh, I need a better over the shoulder boulder holder. Have a good evening. Evidence through motion. The chaos resumes tomorrow. Yes, the chaos will resume tomorrow on the other channel with the lawsuit that is currently being filed, or is currently filed, against the Levy County Sheriff's Office from in federal court from a person named Taylor. It's not anything to do with Jeremy Hales, but it's what Jeremy Hales' lawyer cited in this last motion. I have it. We're gonna read it. So y'all have a great night. What's the white ribbon? Oh, this? Um, this is my true challenge. Um, third place mixed novice. My last competition. So I can actually put it. It blocks the brain book if I put it right there. There we go. The next competition's in April. So we're trying to lose 20 pounds by April. So I'm fasting. I'm currently fasting. I am hungry. But I'm gonna try to get this PDF done and get it done for y'all. But we are just under an hour, where I like to keep these things to make it nice and easy for the rewatch crew. I thank you guys for hanging out with me. As always, thank you for your support. I love it. Yes, and also sub to my other channel if you do happen to catch this and you are not subbed to me over on Squidbrook Woe. This is professional, that's petty. Two parts of my personality. Y'all have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.